Yeah, hello, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com. This series of videos is World of Tanks, and it's going to show you flanking maneuvers that I made. These are games that I played in the past couple of days over the July 4th weekend. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get behind the enemy because the enemy is very predictable. I'm going to get behind the enemy, or I'm going to take advantage of the enemy leaving a flank wide open, and I'm going to quickly take advantage of it. And we're going to press the enemy, and we're going to pin them into the corner. And I'm going to show one game where my team left a flank open. And because I was in a slow tank destroyer, I was unable to watch the flank properly. So the enemy pinned us into a corner, even though I think the game ended in a draw. Okay, so on to the videos. Yeah, hello, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is a T-54 lightweight. This is a Russian Tier 9 light tank. And the map is Erlenberg. And this is an important game because the core of the game is going to change. And I've discovered a counter to the lemming tactic. If you watch my scouting video, which shows how to scout each map, I've been using that scouting technique, and it's been working very effectively. And this is going to demonstrate it. You can see that I got here very quickly, and I did not spot any enemy tanks, which is unusual. It's rare that enemy tanks get by, and I sat here a little bit too long. But at some point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to presume that the enemy did not come to this side, and I'm going to go all the way to the corner to E0, and I'm going to verify that they did not come. They all lemminged to the west side, and what's going to happen is my team is going to figure out what's going on. You can see that half of them on the east are starting to advance. Now the remaining tanks are advancing. And what happened was that the enemy didn't go this way, so we're quickly going to close in on them. There's a strategy that some people have. They believe that they can have one tank defending the bridge, in this case the E-75, but it's not going to work. You know, it's going to be a failed tactic. That tank is not going to be able to defend 7 or 8 tanks going against them. You'll notice he's at the very edge of my spotting range. So I will not be spotted if I shoot at him. The reason why I was spotted is because there's another tank. There's another tank in the river that the Panther may not have spotted yet. But there's not the Bat Chat. There's going to be another tank there. He's probably in a bush who was able to spot me. The smart thing to do. Okay, so he backed down, but often I drive beyond the yellow circle so at least they can't see the outline of my tank. So we're going to uncover another tank. I believe he's going to be in the river here. I'm staying as low as possible. There he is. And I went for the ram. That was a lot of damage, 531 damage. Go for another ram. I was doing everything I could to get the gun turned around as quickly as possible. Got to let the Bat Chat get in the water. Unfortunately, he's going to die. Maybe the Artie's going to hit him. Yeah, the Artie killed him. Now, this is actually a very good position to play in. You can go up and take shots. Obviously, artillery knew I was there. But you can go up and take shots and hide and avoid most tanks. Now, sneaking around here was not really something that I wanted to do. I'm just doing it to get coverage because
enemy armor is damaged. We're done for. Everyone get out.
My allies, the STRV, for example, he's got the bridge area covered, so I want to get as much wide coverage as possible, which is why I went over there. The score is 3-5. You can see that what happened is we surrounded the enemy. We have control of the entire east side of the map and the south, even though they did advance into the south. But if I had stayed in the game, I got 1,300 damage, 1,200 spotting damage. If I had stayed in the game, what I would have done is I would have actively spotted along the river to get as many of those tanks lit as possible so that my tanks can snipe across. If I'm spotting them and they're not spotting us back, then we have an advantage. Yeah, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is a Type 4 heavy. This is a Japanese Tier 9 heavy tank, and the map is Erlenberg. I absolutely love this tank. It's totally worth it. They buffed it, they buffed the armor, they improved the damage from the gun, it made it way better. High explosive rounds are awesome. I love playing this tank. I advise you to get it if you like playing heavy tanks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my normal spotting area, which is that bush over there. And you can see that this tank doesn't have the spotting range of my other tanks. It doesn't see all the way to 445 meters. But what's going to happen is I'm going to spot the tanks that are headed across to the castle area, and then I'm going to follow around from behind, and I'm just going to blast them as much as possible. And I'm not forward enough to hit through the gap. You want to hit the tanks when they're going through little gaps, hit them in the tail so they don't spot you when you shoot at them. Like there's an example where he might not spot me. Another tank could spot me, but he might not. Now because I'm taking incoming, I want to get surrounded by buildings as much as possible. Avoid going through the open gap areas. There's an open area in front of me and it's dangerous for me to cross. Stay surrounded by buildings. I got a long reload, so I'm not going to waste a round on knocking the building down. He's dead. So you can see we got one kill. We've already done a lot of damage to the tanks that are heading there, and we've entered the castle. There's a tank in front of me that I was not aware of. You want to keep your gun pointed towards any incoming fire so that your stronger armor is pointed towards the enemy. Or keep it at a slight angle. Depends on the shape of your turret. Stay surrounded by houses. Those tanks are foolish to try and shoot at me. They're no contest for me. I reverse until I'm halfway reloaded, and then when I'm halfway reloaded, I start going forward again to time my reload so that I arrive just in time to shoot. And he's dead. That's a long reload. Now I got a tank shooting from behind. I got to angle my tank to point the corner towards where the shots are coming from. So you can see that I angled it so that the rear corner is in the direction of incoming fire to make it so that it increases the chance that they ricochet off of me. You got to aim in fully for that guy with this tank. Now this is a tank where you want to have the repair kits, the repair on the crew, and you want to have the tracks, and you want to have the spall liner, because you're going to get hit by high explosive rounds a lot. So it's more difficult for them to track me because of the enhanced, when you have the coil springs or whatever they are. Keep your gun pointed in the direction of incoming fire. I'm reversing until I'm halfway reloaded, and then I'm going to go forward again. Now I'm halfway reloaded, so it's time to go forward again. So by the time I get into shooting position, I will be reloaded. You can see that I'm still taking fire from behind. I turned my tank to point the rear towards the AMX 1390's incoming fire. Set him on fire. Score 7-2. We easily cleared out this flank.
Target acquired.
And with this tank, you can definitely do these types of maneuvers.
Where did they go? Enemy armor is destroyed.
The other thing you can do is watch your, when someone hits you, you're watching the rear of your tank. You can see someone hit the corner of my... Oh, I hope I didn't turn off the recording. No. Okay, someone hit the corner of my tank right there. And you can see under the tread there's another hit. So what I do, you have the indicator which shows you the direction that the shots are coming in, but they're not 100% accurate. I'm not really sure. Maybe if you turn your turret, it gives you a confusing value. I'm not sure. So what I've been doing is watching the damage to rear of my tank to figure out the direction that they're shooting from, and I point the corner of my tank where I think the enemy is so that they have this type of an angle to shoot at instead of a head-on angle. You want them and if they're auto-aiming, they're going to hit you in the corner, and it's going to be to your advantage. Score is 10-4. We easily cleared out that flank. We're going to surround the enemy. The northern part of our team, what they should be doing right now is they should be spotting for us, and they should wait for us to close in. The enemy is, what they should be doing is they should be regrouping right now, and they should advance north, and they should not be worrying about the onslaught from the south. They should head north as quickly as possible, but they're not doing that.
Bail out. This vehicle is heading.
Oh, okay, well, there goes the recording.
Let's go.
Yeah, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is a Type 64. This is a Chinese Tier 6 light tank, and the map is El Haluf. You can see an ally rammed me. It's very important not to ram your allies. Besides the fact that it does damage, it prevents me from spotting on behalf of my team. I have to get to where I'm going as quickly as I can. And, I'm doing this for their benefit. And second of all, we do work on missions. I have a mission to kill 4 tanks without taking any damage. And when I do it in my little Scorpion tank destroyer, my allies are ramming me constantly. So I ran straight to the enemy side, and you can see I have a lot of videos where I go to this position. This position is very dangerous because you can get in the crossfire, and it's very difficult to find your way out of the crossfire. But there's a lot of rewards. El Haluf is an easy... I'm going to go back to see if I can get shots on that AMX because I want to help my ally out. El Haluf is very easy to flank on because it's a rather large map, and the enemy tanks are very predictable. In the old El Haluf, when I started, 3 years ago, a lot of tanks would snipe across the middle. But they changed the map, so it's a corridor map now, and you no longer, you no longer have the snipers across the middle. We've only got one sniper on our side, and they only have none. Just the light tanks that try to run across. So I don't like that change in the game. This was one of the few sniping maps. All the sniping maps were turned into corridor maps.
Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy is hit.
I wish I could have gotten more shots into that tank, but unfortunately I was unable to.
We've lost the track. Enemy armor is hit.
And he's dead. There's no artillery. The score is 5-4. Their entire east side and the base area looks like it was cleared out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I count 9 tanks on the mini-map.
Target unlocked.
Now they're flanked. That was a lousy shot.
Critical hit.
Now obviously there's different strategies. You can try hitting each tank once
Penetration.
to confuse everyone. Or wait until you kill somebody.
Penetration. Critical hit. Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy armor is hit.
Definitely hit faster tanks. It's a big priority. Because they're the ones that are going to come after you. So you can see the Cromwell is coming after me. I don't think he's going to get anywhere. The score is 10-6. And he knows where I am, so I'm going to go somewhere completely different so he can't find me. Accidentally go across the base. Don't want the enemy to know where you are. I think I'm just going to leave. He can't shoot at me. Go the wrong way over here. You don't want to go this way. 11-7. You don't want to duke it out.
Penetration. Ready to fire.
There's safety right over here. You got an enemy tank to shoot at. Cromwell's gone. VK's gone. End of game. 1,487 damage, 500 spotting damage, and that's the way you do it. This is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is a T-49. This is an American Tier 9 light tank, and the map is Paris. This is one of my absolute favorite tanks. I'm really learning how to take advantage of it, and I have a lot of great games with it. I'm going to show you a technique that I am working on. It was a wide miss. And it doesn't always work, but it needs to be developed a little bit. And that is to pin the enemy down in the field. The T-34 is well enough armored that I won't be able to really do anything against him. And I'm going to count enemy tanks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's at least 10 tanks. There's at least 10 tanks plus the SPG. So there's 4 tanks that we don't know where they are. And I often come over here, and if I can make it through, I do. And I noticed that the only tank over there was the T-26E4, so I'm able to come all the way in. It's like I say in my other videos, get as close to the enemy as possible. You can see that was a little bit sloppy playing on my behalf, including over here. I didn't have allies supporting me, so the CDC is coming around, the SPG and the T-26. They didn't really give me good support, so I had to stay back a little bit. But, you know, this is one of the things you have to be aware of when you play the game. You have to see what kind of support you have, because you're spotting for their benefit. And I only got 179 spotting damage, so you can see all the damage that was taken, 700 damage. I was not credited for that. I did get the 240 for the T-28 prototype, and I'm just going to be there enough to keep him spotted. And you can see his gun barrel is pointed away from me. And he's taking incoming. He might not know that he's spotted. I did 1,300 spot damage. You can see that it was difficult for me to get the shot in because of the game mechanics, the way the terrain is sloped. I'm going to have a little bit more sloppy gameplay. It's a little bit more difficult to play over here. Obviously, I cannot push that tank, and it's hard to get into the sniper mode because I'm close to a building. They're completely unaware of me, and I want to get shots. I think I accidentally went over the side, so it was a lot of sloppy gameplay, and now I'm in a dangerous position. So I missed those opportunities. I'm getting high because they can't shoot me when I'm up there, unless they come up also. And then I'm falling back to my fallback position. We lost the CDC. No, the CDC is still in the game. He just left. So I'm going to let my other tanks do the damage as much as possible. And I'm thinking about the opportunity. I'm thinking to myself, when can I make a run to blast one of these tanks in the rear? I'm looking around the corner to watch his gun, to see where his gun is pointed. He's too dangerous, and I've got a tank in front of me that's going to prevent me from driving forward. So I have to back up. I saw he was coming. I could have taken a shot. It probably wouldn't have done anything. The artillery got him. You can see it's very much a stalemate. This is basically the situation for the game. Hopefully it will get better. You can see I had to dive over the side. I put me in danger, and that was it. Yeah, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is the AMX 1390. This is a French Tier 9 light tank, and the map is Ruinberg. Now, I've learned a new technique. This is July 4th weekend. If you watch my previous spotting and scouting videos, I experimented with scouting on the map. And what happens is you get a quick view of where the enemy is going. So you can see I'm going to do a scouting run right now just to find the enemy. And you'll notice that I didn't spot very many except for the TVP and the Indian Panzer. So that tells me that they lemminged to the town. to the city. So they abandoned the field area, and we're going to take advantage of this. And this is going to change the game. And the reason why is because I'm going to show you many games where one team lemmings to one side, and I was able to take advantage of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to corner the team in, and they're going to have to fight in the corner. And our team is going to advance. Instead of having the snipers in the back doing nothing, now they're all going to advance and they're going to surround the enemy. And I'm even going to be able to get some good sniping shots in. So normally if we had gone field, we would have had 3 or 4 tanks with nothing to do sitting in the back. But because we caught them, the M41, T-32, and the T-10, and the light tank behind me, and even the T-25, they can all advance forward safely if they want to. So I know that getting to this alley is going to let me line up shots on tanks. I'm going to be as close to the red line as possible, or line up with a bush. There's definitely tanks there, but they're not spotted. There they are. They're just at the edge of my spotting range.
Target acquired. We didn't penetrate their armor. Target acquired. Ready to fire. Enemy armor is hit.
So you can see that when I was spotted, I ducked in for cover. Now obviously, being the spotter and sniping is difficult because you have to be in a position to spot and a position to snipe. And the game can change rapidly as they move closer. As they move closer or further from you, you can easily become spotted. You can see that we are surrounding the enemy. They are in the corner. And the score is 5-2, so it's definitely very effective. The Indian Panzer, the STB-1, and the Bat Chat are going to be the last 3 tanks in the game, as you can imagine. They're going to be in that position. It's going to be a little bit difficult to weed them out because I'm going to make a critical mistake at the end of the game, which I will explain. If you notice that the Indian Panzer is in the corner and the STB-1 and the Bat Chat are in a different corner, and I thought that the Indian Panzer was with the STB-1 and the Bat Chat. I didn't realize he had the open field and he was hugging that corner. So I thought he was behind all those buildings there, and I'm going to go out in the open at the end and he's going to finish me off. One thing that I'm definitely not happy about, I don't like the fact that they reduced this tank to only 4 rounds. Having only 4 rounds is a big disadvantage for this tank, especially at Tier 9. Very disappointed that they did that, considering that this is one of my favorite tanks. I love the AMX 1390, the AMX 1357, and this class of tank. Because I was spotted, obviously I have to move, hide behind the building. The score is 6-4. You can see that the IS-3 is not in a good position. The T-25 did advance. I was having trouble reversing. You can see I was having trouble reversing because there's a building behind me. But when you play, you definitely want to try and get only 1 shot in and hide. I took 2 shots, which is why I also got an incoming shot. And you also have to remember to wait long enough so that you become unspotted. I'm very eager to take shots on these guys, so sometimes I went out before I was ready to, and I probably should have reloaded my ammo. Some people, people have different methods for counting when you become unspotted. I look at the timer. I count to 10 and I look at the timer to estimate if the 8 to 10 seconds have elapsed. The score is 9-8. So that's 2 kills, 1,700 damage, 1,200 spotting damage. That's a 3rd kill. Now remember, when they are, what's the word? When the artillery hits the tanks and the crew becomes stunned, they cannot spot you back, and they'll often miss if they try to shoot back at you. We got some platoons going for... I was working on a mission to get like 3,000 spotting damage and 2,500 damage. And I've got the 3 kills for the platoon award. I forgot what it's called. Brothers in Arms. So now here's where I got confused.
Let's go.
Yeah, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is the AMX 1390. This is a French Tier 9 light tank, and the map is Arctic region. You can see I took some ramming damage. The Bat Chat rammed me, and it's really poor playing style. For example, I'm doing a mission where I have to do 4 kills without taking any damage, and tanks hit my tank, and it's really not right. And there was one tank that I was playing where I was getting rammed all the time. The little Scorpion, the American Scorpion, tanks are constantly ramming me at the beginning of the game. So I do what I normally do. I go through the center, and because I got spotted, I have to find cover as quickly as possible. This is going to be a very good game. We're going to clear out this flank. Keep those guys spotted. Keep their guns pointing in the wrong direction. Keep them on their toes. Get behind them. I like to play in the center of the map because I can go in any direction I want to. If my allies need my help on one side, I can quickly move to that side. I can shoot in all directions. I can spot in all directions. You can see that we own the eastern side of the map. And I'm relying on my allies. I got a lot of backup down there. That Centurion's not going to be able to come out after me because I have way too many allies in the south. And I'm not going to go after him. I'm not going to challenge him. You can see he's still taking incoming shots. And when his gun points away, I'm going to shoot at him. That was a risky maneuver. He pointed his gun back at me. But I watch his gun. When his gun points away, I'll go after him. Trying to draw him south, keep him spotted. See, an ally just luckily missed him. I already got 1,000 spotting damage. His gun is pointing away from me. I'm going to go in. Need that gun elevation. Going into the sniper mode. Okay, so he's dead. I do need to reload. You'll notice we've already won. Only been 2 minutes and 15 seconds. We already cleared out the flank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 tanks are spotted. Perhaps, okay, there's one tank that's unspotted, and he's the one that kills me.
This vehicle is heading.
Okay, so I was counting tanks to know if all tanks were spotted or not, and what happened was there was a tank that was not spotted yet, and obviously he knew I was coming. That is what he was doing. He was sitting there waiting for me to come around. It looks like he took 4 incoming shots. I don't know, maybe I'm confusing him with another tank, but it's important to know how many tanks are spotted because like this one was setting up this trap for me, this STRV, and they knew I was coming around, but that's the risk you got to take when you're a lead. The only other option is if you want to play safe. If I were playing in a clan where I would have gone near the Dragon's Teeth, gone to these bushes, gone along the red line, and then I would have been able to crawl along and perhaps advance a little bit more smarter. Okay, so that's the game. 238 damage, 1,000 spotting damage. It shows you how to clear out a flank. Yeah, hello, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is the AMX 30. This is a French Tier 9 medium tank, and the map is Fjords. I do like these tanks. I was really excited. I remember when they came out, it took a long time for me to get them. And I was able to work on this branch, and it might have been from the AMX 1390 branch, which made me very happy because I love playing the AMX 1390. But I was finally able to get it. It's a fast tank. I really haven't had enough fun playing it. But I do play it like a light tank. Nice ricochet there. So you can see I was slow to get into position, and it hurt me. I had a little bit of a pause getting into position. There's lots of different ways to play this map. I'm not able to get a good spotting position. We do have a Bat Chat there. So you can see there's a position here in the hills, and The reason why you want to come here is you can shoot across to where the IS-3 is.
Let's find another target.
And plus you can cover the south where the WZ-111 and the Schwartz Panzer is.
Acquired. We didn't penetrate their armor.
You do have to have good gun depression in order to play in that position. If you have really good gun depression, then you can get a really good position up there. The other thing I like to do is play in the mountain, which is right in the middle of the map. There's a hill. You can see that there's an IS-6, and to the right of him, you can climb that hill. I like to climb up there.
Enemy armor is damaged.
But in the higher tier maps, it's a lot more difficult in the higher tier maps. It's more easy in the lower tier maps. You can see that we were uncontested in the south, and in the north, they're pinning back my team. The field is unspotted. Score is 2-2. Now they've left the central corridor. What happens is teams like to fight there, but they only fight there on their way somewhere else, and then they move on. So what I could have done is gone to the right and climbed up the hill, but I didn't. So what I'm doing is going up here to where the STRV is. It looks like any team that I had that was covering them either died or left. But now we've got an interesting situation because the enemy is surrounding us. We could go through that middle channel on the F line and get behind them. You only need one tank to do it. But what's going to happen is where the T-49 is, he can hit our tanks like the Schwartz Panzer and the WZ-11 that are off in the distance there. I'm reversing so that my stronger armor, you can see it's not a good reverse, but I'm reversing so my stronger armor was facing forward because I want to get out of there.
Ready to fire. Enemy armor is hit.
So I was lucky not to take any damage. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head south. Going to get behind these guys. They're starting to push my team back. My team is in a very difficult position. All the Jag Panzer, he can hit the WZ-11, the Schwartz Panzer. As long as he can hit over those houses, he can hit those tanks. And even the T-49 and the M41. One down. Wish I had a faster reload. Has no idea that I'm here. He's about to die. One way or another, he's going to die.
Target unlocked. Enemy armor is destroyed.
That was a lousy move on his part. Wide open for me to take him out.
Target acquired. Enemy armor is damaged.
Now that they've turned their guns around, all they have to do is leave. I don't have to go out. I'm watching his gun. When his gun is pointed my way, my allies can advance. You see the score is 8-7. They won in the north. I don't know how, but they did.
Enemy armor is hit.
I wish it were easy taking out this Black Panther, but you can see that it was a little bit more complicated. The Schwartz Panzer is a little bit cautious, watching the guns. Got a lot of sloppy play here.
I don't see the target. You're knocked out.
Okay, so we cleaned up in the south. The score is 11-7. They've got 3 tanks and 1 SPG left. Okay, so the artillery took out the Schwartz Panzer. What does that tell me? I know that the artillery is in A6, so I'm pinging my team to tell them that the GW Panther is in A6 because he can shoot on that alley, and he's dead. Okay, so now we've got 12-8. They've got 3 tanks. We've got 7 tanks. And that was a flanking maneuver. You know, I looked for an opportunity to go through the middle and flank them from behind. I could have gone sooner, and maybe we could have saved a lot of tanks on our team if I had gone sooner. But I chose to take the other route. I think that when I chose that route, maybe they hadn't completely gone around the south, so it would have been a fight, and I risked being flanked myself. The score is 13-9. Their Emil has 41 hit points left. They've got one tank left. So it shows you how easily you can turn the tide in the game. We were surrounded at one point. The enemy should have won that, but they didn't watch their backs properly, and they did too little too late. T-54 is going to go down. I love this part of the map. I love the way the terrain is sloped. I wish more of the maps were like this. And that's the game. 2499 damage.
Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is the IS-2. This is a Russian Tier 7 tank. Yeah, it's a heavy tank, and the map is Overlord. This is one of the Berlin Quartet tanks, you can tell, because it has a white stripe painted on it, which was a sign to the Allies that they were not to bomb those tanks. This tank actually has a very good gun on it. It has the same gun as the IS-6 or a similar gun, and I play all tanks the same way. For the most part, I'm going to play it the same way I play a light tank. I'm going to head for the center. I'm going to try and spot enemy tanks, give them a tough time.
Let's find another target. Enemy armor is damaged.
Now, I do use the auto-aim,
Is damaged.
but just because I use the auto-aim doesn't mean I'm going to fire with the auto-aim. You'll hear me say that often. I use the auto-aim, but I switch when it's appropriate.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
These tanks are very predictable, and in this case, they're going to leave this center open. So it's going to allow me to get a lot of shots on these guys.
Permission to engage. Penetration. Ready to fire.
You want to hit the most vulnerable tank, get their guns to turn around. See, all three of them, or at least two of them, turn their guns around, which tells me that they're not going to be shooting at my allies, so that's my time to run. Wait until they turn their guns around towards my allies and then go in and hit them from behind again when they're unprepared. There's also a Tiger 1 in the distance in front of me that I have to worry about. He's going to prevent me from going in for additional runs. Getting behind solid objects, trying to keep an eye on that mini-map to see when they appear, take up a better position.
Move out.
Yeah, hello, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is the AMX 1390. This is a French Tier 9 light tank, and the map is Tundra. I spawned on the west side, so I'm advancing quickly to see what's going across. And there's a spotting area, there's a little bush over here, a little brush area that I head for, which is right in front of me. And I try to get into this position. You can see in this case I just drove through. But I go for this position, and I didn't see any enemy tanks. The enemy often doesn't come this way. They can come this way. You have to be able to get out as quickly as possible. You can see that we have an Oni going to the west. If you see a lot of heavy tanks going to the east, then they're probably not going to go to the west. So I didn't see any tanks coming. I make decisions somewhat quickly, even though it took perhaps 10 seconds before I decided. And then I finally decided it looks like they weren't going this way, so I decided to scout out. And it shows you the dangers of having a team that is acting like a lemming all to one side, even though our team kind of did it too. They're completely exposed. I'm able to get behind. I'm going to spot the SPGs. They're going to be taken out very quickly.
Target acquired. Enemy is hit. Enemy armor is hit. I don't see the target. They're knocked out.
And they have to be killed because you don't want any tank that's going to spot you. And I got great defense over here, lots of bushes. The enemy is potentially going to be cornered and surrounded. And many of their tanks will be unaware as to what is going on. For example, there's a J Panther. I don't know which way his gun is pointing, so I don't know if he's aware that I'm here or not. You can see that he's unaware that I'm behind him. His gun is... Okay, now he's coming around. Now his gun is coming around. The ideal thing to do in this situation, obviously the J Panther is chasing after me, is to just keep the enemy spotted.
Let's find another target.
Let your allies roll around. Oh, the score's 1-8. That was a lousy shot.
Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy is hit.
So I had some difficult shots. I don't know which way the J Panther's coming around. According to the map, he might be right in front of me. The score is 1-8 still. I was unable to turn the tide in the game, but it shows you how easily I was able to get behind the enemy, and I guess my team just didn't do enough. Okay, so there he is. They're all coming after me now.
Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy armor is hit. Periscope is damaged.
Now, what happens in these types of games, you can look on the minimap and see I'm completely surrounded, is that when there's an imbalance, like the score was 8-1, the enemy will come swarming after you. You'll be in a quick 5-on-1 battle. And that's the mistake I made. As soon as I knew that the score was 1-8, I should have played a distant sniping position. And then what you have to do is you only have to deal with the faster tanks and keep on outrunning them and worry about the slower tanks later and keep as far away as possible. Increase the distance as much as you can and peg them off as they come after you. So I did get 2,100 damage, but it shows you the dangers of leaving a flank open. And also what happens is when one team is overwhelming on one side, they have a lot. As long as those guns are pointing at the enemy, they can win. If they can't point their guns because they're behind their allies or they don't have good shooting positions, then obviously there's no advantage to it. But this shows you a strategy. I'm going to show you other games like this that worked out really well.
Time to roll out.
Yeah, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is the T-54 lightweight. This is a Russian Tier 9 light tank, and the map is Tundra. Now, my goal in this tank and in this game is going to be to try and flank the enemy, to try and get behind them, to confuse them, to get some shots in, to keep them spotted, etc. I decided in this game to go up towards the buildings because I wanted to get close to the enemy and still have buildings for cover. You can see only the T-20 was spotted coming across, and the enemy light tanks have climbed the hill on the east side. You can also see that my team did not go west. We did not have any heavy tanks. Heavy tanks traditionally go to the west, and we got one enemy heavy tank on the east. And I'm not spotting anything. Obviously, the faster tanks like the T-20 would have already come across, and the slower tanks, you have to wait a little bit. We also have 3 enemy SPGs, which are obviously less tanks in the game that you have to really worry about if you're a light tank player. I guess that tank didn't spot me. I drove across the enemy base, which I normally would not do because it alerts the enemy to your presence. And I decided to head down the river. Sloppy driving.
Target acquired. Penetration.
You can see I'm in a bad position. The Scorpion is able to hit me, so I repositioned
Enemy is hit.
to avoid the Scorpion. And I got to back up because these tanks could easily come after me, and it would be bad news.
Enemy armor is damaged. Target released. Target acquired.
So you can see that I'm reversing using the auto aim. Fire at him whenever I can, reversing to a safe position. And the Scorpion is still going after me, and I still have hit points left. So I'm going to try and hide over here and avoid artillery. I know that the Scorpion's there, so I got to watch out for him.
Penetration. Ready to fire.
Get the last shot in.
Enemy armor is damaged. Everyone get out.
and that's the game.
Time to roll out.
This is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is a Sturr Emil. This is a German Tier 7 tank destroyer, and the map is Murovanka. I'm working on a mission which is to kill 4 tanks without taking any damage. I actually came close. I was a split second away. I got the 4 kills, but I took a hit a second before I got that 4th kill. You'll notice that my team is not taking the eastern side of the map, and what's going to happen is the enemy is going to pin us into the corner. When this happens, there's actually 2 things that you should be aware of. Number 1, that your team is not taking one of the flanks, but number 2, assume that your team probably will not advance on the flank that they do control, because they're just not skilled players. Often I would go and defend that flank on my own. You can see on the Live Oaks map how I handled it. But in this case, this tank is not equipped to take on a flank all by itself, and I decided, I was working on this mission to kill 4 tanks without taking damage. But I was being aware that the enemy is going to come from that flank, so I'm trying to think, where am I going to be able to spot them? I'm going to do the best I can for my team. And I felt that this was not a good position. You really want to be near the base, because the light tanks are going to come along the red line. And that's actually what is going to happen in this game. So I decided to reposition. I headed south, and I'm going to go so that I can cover the open area on the red line along the base. And what's going to happen is the light tanks are actually going to approach before I get there. So I'm not really going to be set up and prepared when I get there. But I'm going to do a lot of spotting for the team, and I'm going to hold them off as long as I can. It's actually going to be, the defense that I'm going to do is actually going to work out really well. We're going to get to the point where it's going to be perhaps a 2-on-2 game or something like that, or a 1-on-2 game at the end of the game. So you can see here the light tank is already coming through. You got to be very careful. As soon as you're spotted, you got to go down low so that his allies don't snipe at you. And your SPGs are defenseless, so you got to take this guy out. Now remember, SPGs are very important. They do damage in the game. You want to keep them in the game. Don't think of them like a tank. They're SPGs. They can be very effective at getting kills. You can see our SPG already has 1 kill. Finally, the E-25 is coming out to look at something. The ARL is coming back, and the TOG.
Target acquired. Let's find another target.
So the end of the game is going to be me, the TOG, a bunch of SPGs,
Fire.
maybe 1 other tank. Got a lucky shot there. I'm going to play an important role in this game, so I have to take a spotting position. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure someone's in the town where the Crusader is. It's a very important place to spot, because that's where the enemy can sneak up. This should be done manually. You don't want to use the auto aim for this guy, unless he stops. Crusader's a 1-shot. Scores 8-6. You'd think we're in a good position, but the problem that we have is that our faster tanks, which, well, one of them just died, the Type T-34 and the VK, they're not going to go out and do any spotting for us. And the tanks that traditionally snipe, like the SU-100 and me, we have to be the front line of defense. You can see that VK out there. He's going to be the problem. And he's going to be the problem because he's not going to advance. He's going to sit there. And at some point, I'm going to want to go looking for him. I took another shot, hopefully to get a lucky shot and to kill him. You see the score is 9-9. Now this shows you the problems of going out and leaving a flank open. Our team never should have done it. It was a very poor playing style. Our artillery is going to be sitting ducks. All they have to do is spot our artillery, and they still have their 3 artillery in the game that can easily take them out. So I'm aware that there's another tank in the game that hasn't been spotted yet. Oh, the bishop's going to go. The bishop has to get close because his shooting range is not as far as other SPGs. And unfortunately, it's not going to work out for him. You can see he's gone. All you have to do, the VK, me, and the TOG, all we have to do is spot the enemy and let our artillery do the rest. But what's going to happen is I'm going to want to go looking for that VK, but there's another tank which I believe is going to be a Panzer 4H or something like that. He's going to show up right as I leave to hunt for that VK, and that's when trouble's going to begin. The score is 10-9. We do not have good positioning. You can see that the VK and the TOG left the SPGs unprotected. I flubbed that shot. And I got spotted. Now the reason why it's poor positioning is because the SPGs don't have good spotting range. So the enemy can get very close to them but without getting spotted. The VK and the TOG will probably spot better than the SPGs, and they should have a better cover. And of course they can snipe from wherever they are, you know, their shooting distance. So we just lost another tank. We lost a tank and an SPG. Someone was complaining about the TOG having a problem being ammo racked or something like that. You can see the SPG is trying to warn me not to advance, but he didn't know I was looking for that spotting bush. That VK off in the distance, like I said, he doesn't advance.
Target acquired.
Aim all the way. Head for the low area. The VK is still behind me. You have to do zigzags to avoid artillery. Artillery spotted me, so I don't want them to know where I am, so I'm taking a weird route, reminding the team that the VK is still there. Now what should have happened is those faster tanks should have gone out to find the SPGs, which would have been undefended. And if they had found those SPGs, they could have taken them out of the game, and it would weaken the other team. And now this is the point where I decided I'm going to have to go find them, but not be unable to cover my team. And there's the Panzer.
Ready to fire. There they go. They're knocked out.
I was able to take them out, but it's going to be the end of the game for me.
Bail out. This vehicle is
2,400 damage, 450 spotting damage. And that's the danger of leaving a flank open and having to play in the corner. Thank you for watching these videos. If you'd like to join my clan, it is CBKS. If you would like to join a clan designed for SPG players, it is CBSPG. I would love to upload more videos. I've got tons of great videos. They're all my own gameplay, lots of strategy and tactics that I would like to show you. However, I don't have enough subscribers to my channel to warrant investing the time into uploading lots of videos. I do have lots of great videos that show you how to configure your tanks for light tanks, and when I made these changes, it made me a far better light tank player. I have a video how to use HE rounds, how to train your crew every way you could possibly train your crew, every trick and technique, also how to pad your stats, how the stat padders do it. I get a lot of complaints. Everybody says, oh, your WN8 is low, you suck. And it's, no, I'm not a stat padder. And I have a video where I went through like 50 different ways that people pad their stats and it make it look like they're better players when they're really not. And there's lots of other videos that I would like to upload. They're original, unique content you're not going to see anywhere else. But I need more subscribers or more views. And it's growing, it's coming along, but I need more subscribers in order to justify spending the time and working on it. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.